The Pebble is one of the first smartwatches to really make a splash in the industry, and now the company is back with a new, even more stylish successor. So this is the $250 Pebble Steel, and as you can see, it doesn't really look anything like its predecessor. The watch face itself is made of stainless steel, and the screen is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass, which is a big upgrade from the plastic that the original version has. And this is a genuine leather wristband, but when it launches, it'll actually come with both the leather wristband and a metal wristband. So if you look at it alongside the Pebble, you'll really see some of the differences here. This is a lot chunkier and it's plastic, and it kind of looks a little bit more like a sporty smartwatch, whereas the Pebble Steel actually looks like a timepiece more than a gadget, and it's something that you would actually wear out to a fancy event or a business meeting. And you can see it looks a bit slimmer than the Sony Smartwatch 2 and the Galaxy Gear as well. So what's really interesting about Pebble's recent updates is not only the new hardware, but the software as well. So Pebble 2.0 brings a few new features that weren't on the original version. And the Pebble 2.0 software will be on the original Pebble as well, so you don't need the Steel to get some of the new features. But one of those additions is the notifications menu. So this means that after you check an email or a text message or social media alert, it's actually going to appear in this notifications menu so that you can check it later. In the past, they've kind of just disappeared once you've checked it, and there was no way to access it again on the watch. So that's a nice little addition that will be coming to the Pebble platform. But an even bigger change is the brand new App Store, which in the past you would kind of have to browse a few different app stores made by third-party developers, and then you'd have to, the process was a little more difficult to actually load apps onto your watch. But with the new App Store, all of these apps are kind of in one centralized location, which makes it much easier to find them and to add them to your watch. So right now, we are looking at the apps section of the App Store. And it takes a little bit to load because this is actually a pre-production model of what the actual app will look like. But as you can see, it's divided up into different sections. There's daily, notifications, fitness, games. It kind of looks like what an actual app store for any other operating system would look like. And we found this overall much easier to find apps for the Pebble, but one thing that we didn't really like was the daily section was a little bit too broad. So this section includes apps such as like news apps and transportation apps and stock apps and weather, things that you would use on a daily basis. But we feel like it's a little bit too broad of a category to kind of house all in one genre. So that was something that we feel like the Pebble App Store could improve on, but in the long run it really does help you find apps more quickly. And another nice addition is the Pebble Locker. So unfortunately, you can still only have 8 apps on your Pebble at one time, but the new app actually makes it easier to change these apps. So as you'll see right here, these are the apps that are currently loaded onto our watch, but we can switch them out by simply pressing the app stored in our locker and then clicking upload. So this makes it much easier to see what's on your Pebble and what isn't, and to easily swap them out. So that's something that makes it a little bit more smooth and a little bit more intuitive overall. And we're also going to take a look at some of the new apps that are launching on the Pebble platform. So Pebble recently partnered with Foursquare, Yelp, ESPN, and GoPro to bring their services to your wrist. So right now we have the Yelp and ESPN apps on here. So let's take a look at Yelp real quick. So while you're wearing the Pebble, you can simply shake it and it'll bring up a nearby venue. And if you'd like to read reviews, you can just press the select button and scroll to read them. So that's really interesting. We feel like this would make it a lot easier to, if you're out with your friends and you're looking for a nearby restaurant or bar, you don't have to actually take out your phone to search for those, venues anymore. You can just shake your wrist and a random restaurant will pop up. And this is also waterproof, just like the previous model. So we can show you right now that we can just drop it in here and it'll come out and work just fine. Even though it looks like a more premium model, it is completely waterproof, so you can still go swimming with it if you want, or you don't have to worry about getting it wet if you're washing your hands or anything like that. So this is launching for $250. That's, quite more expensive than the previous version, which was only $150, but it is a much more premium device. But since it does cost $250, that kind of puts it in a price range with other competing smartwatches that offer more functionality, such as the Sony Smartwatch 2, which gives you a touchscreen and it's also waterproof and more of an Android experience. So it really depends on your user preference, but overall we think the Pebble Steel is a noteworthy improvement to the platform.